Most of you might be shocked by this, but do you know that religion is the biggest form of manipulation that still exists to this day? Let me break it down for you. There are about 10,000 religions on this earth, and every single one of them thinks they're the right path to God. For example, if you were born into a Christian family, you'll naturally believe Jesus Christ is Lord because that's what you were raised to believe, right? But guess what? Same thing applies to someone born into a Muslim or Buddhist family. Everybody thinks they're right. But here's a little secret about all of that. Human beings are programmed. We're programmed to believe whatever we're taught to believe in, and that's exactly what the elites want. It's a shame to say, but all the books you've read and believed in so deeply were written by someone who just wanted to make some profit and fill people's heads with lies. I know some people might start quoting verses from the Bible in the comments, but trust me, these people are way ahead of you. They knew some would try to break the cycle, so they gave you a verse for everything and told you to label anyone who doesn't believe in your religion as a non-believer. But you know what? Discard everything I just said because it was all a joke. In fact, I myself, I'm a joke. If you want to know if you're a psychopath, listen and follow this short test real quick. First, close your eyes and think of the color blue. Hold it in your mind for a few seconds. Just the color blue. Now, picture an elephant. Really focus. Picture its color, its size, and what it's currently doing. Now, here's the twist. Psychologists say that when given random instructions like these, most people will imagine a gray elephant naturally. This is called default thinking. The brain prefers to take the simplest, most familiar route. It saves energy by sticking to what it already knows. However, some people immediately imagine a blue elephant or something wildly different like a purple elephant or even an entirely different animal. This happens because their brain rejects the standard path and leaps into imaginative, less constrained territory. This pattern of thinking makes unusual connections, and it can be a certain psychological traits, which is psychopathy. So, if you imagine a blue elephant in this test, it's not proof that you're 100% a psychopath, but it hints that you think differently than most people, possibly with less emotional reliance on common expectations. And this can mean you have few percent of psychopath in you. In 2019, a firefighter named Marcus Reyes pulled 3 people from a collapsing building moments before it crumbled to the ground. Engineers later said the structure was too unstable. No one should have gone in the first place. When someone asked him, "How did you find the strength to go back in again and again?" he replied, "Physically, I was carrying strangers out of a burning building, but mentally, I was carrying my mother out of our house when I was 6 and too small to help." What Marcus did in that moment is something called mental reframing. It's when you take a situation you're in, especially the one that's overwhelming or terrifying, and you mentally twist it into something that feels more personal. In his mind, he was reliving a moment from when he was 6, too small to help his mother in a house fire. That memory carried emotion so strong that it overpowered his fear and pain. Now, how does this concern you? Your brain is a liar. Your brain can't tell between imagination and reality. It only works 100% when it's in danger. But if you can manipulate it to your advantage every time you need it, you can do anything, even lift a car without taking any damage. If you're a man who feels too much emotion in relationships and always ends up getting hurt, I'm going to teach you how to stop that. First, you need to recognize the problem. You're too kind, and being a sheep in a world full of wolves is only going to get you killed. Now, how can you stop feeling this flood of emotion and break the cycle of being the nice guy? All you need is experience of how these broads operate. The first step is to get 2 girls. You'll befriend one and turn her into your side piece. Then turn the other girl into your girlfriend, but keep in mind that it's not serious. She's just part of the experiment. Now start swapping these girls out every 3 months until you rack up at least 20 body count. The best way to do this is by finding single mothers. They're usually the easiest to approach. But some of you might wonder, what will this do for me? At first you might not notice much, but after you try this and eventually decide you want a real relationship where you pour all your emotions into one woman, it'll be too late. By then you'll already know how women operate, and nothing they do will surprise you anymore. This is the best way to convince yourself that girls don't always play nice, and if they don't, why should you? If you want a girl to know you like her, don't ever use direct flirting with her. She'll figure out your intentions real quick and bail. For example, let's say a girl says, "I love sports bras." An average American man would likely make it pervy and say something like, "I bet you'd look amazing in a sports bra." By saying that, she already knows what just ran through your mind and has figured out your intentions. But there's a way to avoid that. Instead of using direct flirting, try the indirect flirt technique. If she says she loves sport bras, reply with something like, "Believe it or not, I love girls who love sports bras." See the difference in tone and psychological effect? The first response makes it sound like you really want to see how she looks in a sports bra. But the second makes it seem like you don't really care. You just like the sports bra itself, not what looks good in it. By using this approach, you shift her perspective from
Ew.
to
I like how he thinks.
Now listen up. Here's a small secret about women. Every question they ask is a test. They are naturally a walking manipulator, but most of them don't even realize it because it's in their DNA. That's why it would be good for you to read The Art of Manipulation in my bio. Have you ever wondered why women get tired of you even when you give them everything they want? It's because you don't understand their attraction. You're mistaken your attraction as a man to their attraction. Let me make this clear for you. As a man, you fall in love with a woman when you spend quality time with her. In short, this means a man attraction grow in time spent. But this is totally different for a woman because a woman attraction grows in time apart. In order for a woman to love you unconditionally, she has to miss you. But if you're always around, always texting, always trying to be everything, there's no space for that. No space for her to reflect, to wonder, to feel something build, and that can slowly kill the spark. You're not wrong for wanting to give, but you have to understand that these creatures don't really want you around that much. Giving too much makes her feel like she never had to want you in the first place. So if you really want her to love you deeply, don't just focus on being present. Learn how to step back a bit and let her come toward you. Let her miss you. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg in woman attraction's knowledge. The real deal lies in The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. If you can find time to read it, you can learn a lot about how women works.